Markets have been quiet the last few trading sessions, but that silence is about to be shattered. Nvidia's earnings dropped this week, and the entire market could move with it. Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick here, and thanks for joining me for our live macro outlook where we break down the markets the way we see them. Moving forward, I'll be doing these live here Monday through Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're loving it, plug us into your morning routine. So let's dive into it. The S&P 500 literally flat this morning, up just 1 point, virtually unchanged. And so we have a scenario where the market for the last week during the OPEX week stayed in an incredibly tight range, continuously kissing the 50-day moving average while we're waiting for the resolution. And what is everyone waiting for? Well, I mean, some people are saying it's the State of the Union, but I think it's all Nvidia. Let me just put up the Nvidia chart. Now, let's talk about what is happening here pre-earnings. We have a trade range that has established Nvidia's range over the last almost 3 months. You have to go back to the start of December, where we've been in this $20 range, more or less, with the stock completely not participating in what was a pretty impressive semiconductor rally. So if you observe from December all the way through till now, we've had semiconductors rallying, including completing a measured move to the upside. And so you have this bullish semiconductor index trading up its highs. And what's crazy about this SMH, the entire rally happened without Nvidia, and Nvidia is a 20% weighting in this ETF. That means every share you buy this ETF, 20% of it is going to buying Nvidia stock. This is going to be so interesting because clearly we're trading up towards the high end of these trade ranges. What is it that we're going to see later this week? Well, listen, first of all, it is on Wednesday after the close. So we still have a number of trading sessions, including that could temporarily break to a higher high from just people speculating on the fact that Nvidia will beat. So what will we expect? Well, really, there's two stories. One, if it's a bullish one, it could drive the short-term bull impulse that is needed to get this market out of danger zone. Nvidia is literally the last chance, as far as I'm concerned, that the bulls have, and there's always a chance they will beat here, right? So it might be a beat and raise quarter. There's insatiable data center demand, some strong foreign AI spending that could squeeze things higher. If we had that come out on the earnings and Nvidia went for a double top retest and got things going, then that would allow the S&P 500 to take a much needed breather, cause that SMH to break to a higher high, and push every market risk forward into March. And so that is possible. But what about the other side? Well, we saw the hyperscalers basically showing signs of reducing capex spending. Question becomes, have we seen it that where we've now seen the turn in the capex spending cycle? And that will come a lot from Nvidia's forward guidance. And will we see that they're going to guide lower and identify this as a short-term risk as in the next few quarters for their earnings? If we see that kind of an angle come out, and in any way Nvidia breaks back below its 50-day moving average, not only will that probably mark the high for the semiconductor index, it could reverberate all the way to the South Korean markets and top out the SK Hynix and or Samsung, which have been running like they stole something here. I'll just quickly show this is the Kospi chart going full parabolic. If I told you this was the chart of gold a month ago, you'd believe me. This is just or silver. It's been like a parabolic rise in South Korea. Will Nvidia play a role in cooling that off? This is the puzzle to solve. Forget about trying to predict what will happen. I'm saying it's this big of a deal, and that the market is going to be decided by Nvidia's earnings. And so what the price action is of the next couple of days is not going to be as that important. It's going to be the reactions after the earnings that are going to really count. So overall, the market is in the same situation. The breadth of the market is relatively stable and healthy. About 2/3 of stocks remain in bull trend. We have the equal weight S&P 500 continuing have a very distinct bull trend. Leadership in consumer staples and energy stocks and all these things that are working continue to actually drive this index, while it's been the same story for weeks. The Mag 7's very weak. They've broken their neckline, tried to bounce over the last couple of days, but nothing impressive. Overall, the Mag 7 stocks are rotten. And this Nvidia is one of them. And this is why it's such an important thing. Not only that, the software index broke to a lower low. Nobody wants to touch this sector with a 10-foot pole. And so really, it's going to be so important to see what Nvidia does. I just keep repeating it over and over again, but I feel like last week we had an option expiration. There was gamma pinning going on, a lack of catalyst. This week we have a major catalyst, and I think it's going to play out this way. So overall, what should you watch on the S&P? Well, I don't see the S&P going to 7,000 before Nvidia's earnings. If we see that Nvidia's earnings created a bit of a short squeeze, flipped the flows. Maybe software goes for a Fibonacci retrace, things like that. That could be the environment where the S&P takes a stab at 7,100, maybe even 7,200, and even breaks to a higher high. Entirely possible after such an extended and prolonged consolidation in the Mag 7s. If there's anything that changed the sentiment in the space, it could drive that bullish move. But if we don't see 7,000 cleared through Nvidia's earnings and the opposite happens, remember the 6,800 level is a quant tripwire for all of the systematic traders. Basically, Nvidia has to get the market away from the tripwire. Because in the end, there's going to be a flows issue and a pivot that will cause a sell cycle to kick in. And with the market basically trading right, only 100 S&P points above that level, this is still a highly fragile moment. Hence why Nvidia's earnings are that important. All right, we'll give you updates for the rest of the week on the rest of the asset classes as we go. But this is where I'm going to wrap up the public part of this live stream. From here, I'm heading over to live with my Big Picture Trading members, where we're going to take a look at the macro roadmap. We're going to look at rates, gold, silver, what's happening with crude oil, the dollar, and so on. We're going to really get that all going. If you want to join us and see how I turn these ideas into actual trades, you're invited for a 14-day trial to Big Picture Trading. You can just click on the link that's in this chat, or simply visit bigpicturetrading.com and hit that start my 14-day free trial button. Once you're in, you'll be able to continue watching the private member stream. It's called Where's the Trade? And there's a big orange button on the right-hand side that says Join Now. You can join the conversation where I'll be talking with members and going through all of this. So those of you joining me here for this live stream, we'll be back with all of you tomorrow morning for another update. And otherwise, those trying the free trial, I'll see you on in a few minutes. Thanks, everybody.